All right, guys, it's time for LLC formation with who? Ashley Brown Bell. She is here in Birmingham. So, I brought y'all a lot of Birmingham people because y'all need to be getting y'all stuff together and calling these people. Yes, I mean it. So, Ashley, are you ready to take it away, girl?
I am ready to take it away.
Awesome. Hey, everybody say hey to Ashley. Ashley, the floor is yours now. When you need the document, just let me know. But they're just seeing your face right now until you're ready for the first document.
Okay. Again, my name is Attorney Ashley Bell, here in Birmingham, Alabama. I'm here to speak with you today regarding LLC formation. LLC, which is a limited liability company, for those of you who are unaware of that. Um, First, we'll start off by name reservation. In the state of Alabama, you have to do what they call name reservation, which you can actually do do the form online. It's $25. If you send in the paperwork, or if you do it online, it is actually $3 more. I would recommend you doing it online simply because it's easier, it's faster, and once you click submit, the name goes in effect that day. Now, typically, if you were to just do a name reservation without having completed the LLC paperwork, your name reservation would only be valid for 1 year. And if you're thinking about, say, possibly opening up a business within a year or two, I would say go ahead and get your name reserved so that way no one in the state of Alabama can use it, as well as, you know, that's just something that's securing your own business. You may not have the funds to do it right now, but what's $28? What's $25? We spend that on meals every week. Um, but I would recommend you doing that's the first thing prior to even forming an LLC is solidifying the name. Also, on that application, you also have to solidify what type of entity it is, whether or not it's a business corporation, LLC, things like that, or a limited partnership. But right now, today, we're only going to be discussing LLC. In addition to that, after you formed your name, you've gotten your information submitted. The next step you would need to do, we're going to talk about, is the Domestic Limited Liability Corporation Certificate of Formation. For those of you who aren't aware, it is basically a 3-page application. What you're doing is this application just specifies and lets the state of Alabama know, hey, we're putting you guys on notice that we are a business entity here in the state of Alabama. The information that you'll need to submit, of course, there's $100 that you'll have to pay the Secretary of State. And usually you can pay that fee either online or you can actually send them a check. We're just going to start briefly the requirements of the sheet. Now, as far as your name, you have to have LLC in your name. You either have to have LLC or you have to put limited liability company. That's what shows that you have formed an LLC. As far as the fees, again, it's $100 to the Secretary of State of Alabama. Those fees can also be sent to the judge of probate in your county. Typically, judge of probate fees are no less than $50 per county, but I would recommend you reaching out to whatever county you're in to see what those costs are. But the standard fee for the Secretary of State will always be $100 at this time. The state has not changed that at all. Now, on this sheet, it also asks who prepared the forms. And it's important to let the state of Alabama know who prepared the forms in case they have to do an audit. That's important because if you have a law firm to complete the forms, it is readily accessible that they can reach that attorney and follow up to see what forms were submitted inaccurately. Um, in addition to that, you also have to select what's considered a registered agent. Now, let's just kind of discuss what a registered agent is. A registered agent is someone in the state of Alabama that the LLC designates to, one, get information regarding taxes, get information regarding business, and other things like that. Say if you were to get sued, well, if you're in state, that registered agent would get those papers and any and all business paperwork that's related to your LLC. Therefore, it cannot be a PO box. It has to actually be a physical address. It has to be a person that's physical here in the state of Alabama. Typically, we have you have your foreign corporations that do business in the state of Alabama. And when I say foreign corporations, I mean entities outside of Alabama, agencies, companies, individuals, things like that. And if you're located outside of Alabama, you have to have someone in the state of Alabama in order to gather that information, to get the information that you need. They have to be served if anything should come up regarding your business and why you're doing business here in the state of Alabama. Um, Secondly, on your application, you need to be sure you mark whether or not it is a series LLC, a professional LLC, or a nonprofit LLC. In this case, more than likely it's going to be a professional LLC. Um, as far as the date and time listed on your application, it is effective the date that you send it to the Secretary of State. So, say if you mailed your application in to the judge of probate, and the judge of probate turns around and sends your application to the Secretary of State. Well, the day that your information is received, that is the actual day that your business can go into effect. Let's see. Next, in regards to LLCs, we're going to speak about whether or not, the next decision is whether or not you want to make your limited liability company member managed or a manager managed LLC. And basically, what that means is that with the manager managed LLC, that's typically a larger company where, of course, the members do not wish to be involved in the day-to-day operations of the LLC. Basically, it's just employees and the managers, they manage the LLC. The member manager is much smaller, and the members actually manage the LLC. Now, as far as one person LLC, of course, you will run everything in its entirety. But when you get to having two or more people in the LLC, that's when you have to make a determination as to whether or not you want to be a member managed or a manager managed. But it does make a difference because the manager managed LLCs are the ones that are making the day to day business decisions on behalf of the company. So if you want some input in that LLC, I would actually recommend that you consider a manager managed LLC. Once you guys have solidified whether it's going to be a member manager or a manager manager, then you have to move on to what's called an operating agreement. Well, during your operating agreement, basically what that says is that when there are two or more people involved, I would recommend, of course, you guys drawing up this. It basically sets the tone as to what are going to be the expectations of the LLC, who's going to run it, what are their responsibilities, and things of that nature. And let's see, there can be multiple members, but you just have to make sure that their vision and your vision are lined up, because if not, you're going to end up dissolving the LLC because you're going to butt heads. That's the most important thing when you have two or more people involved in the LLC. Now, the next thing, of course, some of the benefits of the LLC, in which I would consider some of the perks, of course, you have less regulation, less governmental regulations. You have pass-through taxation, meaning where the LLC is not typically going to be taxed. Um, it'll be taxed based upon the income that you receive from the LLC, as opposed to by the federal government and the state of Alabama. So that's some of the benefits and perks. Ownership, as it relates to ownership, of course, in an LLC, depending on who's the owner of it, they will be the ones making the decisions. And if it's a single LLC, I would recommend, of course, you know, doing everything you can as far as making sure that um, if you were to add additional members, that they are aware of your expectations within the LLC. You don't have to add them in the LLC. You can keep it just the way it is from when you first formalized it. As far as personal asset protection, you are personally shielded from any personal liability with an LLC. Basically, it just, the LLC protects owners from being personally liable from any liabilities based upon the LLC and any of its debts. So that's definitely a plus because you're treated as a separate entity from yourself. So that's, like say for an example, I'm Ashley Bell, but my LLC is a Bell Law Firm. So my my business, of course, would take upon any and all liability from working as an attorney under the Abell Law Firm. So personally, I wouldn't be liable for anything doing business under the Abell Law Firm as an attorney. Now, again, like I stated, it is considered a separate entity, separate and apart from yourself, from the individual. So that is a good thing because a lot of times when you're dealing in business, sometimes you can open yourself up to liability that you were not expecting. So that way it's kind of considered a shield. You can only go after my business and what I have invested in my business. You can't come after me personally. You can't come after my personal banking accounts, savings accounts, or things like that. Um, but I do recommend, of course, with any LLC that you obtain insurance because that's going to be the driving factor as to whether or not if you were sued, whether or not what the third party could obtain from you, and you want to have that those monies readily available for if you ever need to. Not saying that you will ever need to, but I would rather be safe than sorry, and have that money just sitting there so that way you'll be able to utilize that and not go further into any form of debt. Let's see. Next, we want to talk about business license and zoning. As far as a business license, once you form your LLC, typically each state has their own requirements as it relates to business license and zonings. I would recommend you reaching out to your local county or your local city to see what the requirements are. Typically, because even though you have formalized your business with the state of Alabama, there are still some requirements that you have to do at the local level in addition to the state level. Um, as far as zoning is required, that's one of the things that I would definitely reach out to my city and my county to make sure that I am abiding by the zoning ordinances for my particular business because it depends on what type of business you want as it relates to the location of that business. Say, for a prime example, you have a daycare and you want to put a gentleman's club next to a daycare. Well, that's more than likely not going to happen. Typically because the persona that you want to give to the neighborhood, um, your environment, and things like that. So I would definitely reach out to my local city as well as go to some of the city council meetings and things like that. They'll definitely let you know what's applicable in the area, what are some of the options. Like if you wanted to put your business on another side of town, whether or not it'll be remote, things like that. Let's see. Another thing that you would definitely need to do after you formalize your business is you want to get what's called an EIN number, also known as the employer identification number. What you'll need to do is go under the irs.gov. You can actually do this information online. There is no fee, completely free. You go on there, you fill out your information. You have to have formalized your LLC prior to going on the irs.gov website and getting the federal EIN number because those are some of the questions that they're going to ask you. It's not, I mean, let me just back up. It's not a requirement per se, but I would have formed my LLC prior to getting a EIN number. That way, things will run pretty smoothly. But if you didn't, it's no problem. You can always go back and formulate your LLC. And that number, if you needed to contact them, is 800-829-1040. Or you can go to irs.gov and that information is readily available to you. Let's see. After you've done all of the above, after you've done your name reservation, after you've completed their certificate of formation, after you've decided whether or not you want to be a member managed or a manager managed um, LLC, and you've gotten your EIN number, you're ready to start business. You're ready to practice. You're ready to open the doors to your business. One of the recommendations that I would have, of course, is to make sure that in the state of Alabama, that you don't need to pay any additional business tax, licensors and things like that. Like I said, it's basically dealt with county by county, and that would be one of my recommendations. Of course, that you reach out to whatever county you're in to see beyond the state level if they require any kind of city licensure and anything like that, because you don't want to be operating at the state level and then your city come in and say, well, we're not getting the taxes that you're making for your business, and decide to shut you down. Because let's just be honest, people, there's a tax on everything. There's a tax on these licenses. There's a tax on, you know, any and all fees for dealing with your business, and you don't want the city to come in and shut you down. Although you're adhering to the state policy, you also have to adhere to the city's policy as well, um, and just make sure that your business is legit. All of the above, what I just discussed, is how to legitimize your business. Um, in addition to that, you want to make sure that you're paying the federal taxes as well, which they'll send you out a notification in the mail, as well as the Alabama business tax. The Alabama Revenue Department will also send you out an invoice for those taxes. And once you receive that information, you need to go ahead and let them go ahead and pay your taxes. So that way your business remains legit and you don't rack up bunches and bunches of fees because you're failing to pay the initial tax. Because I think they add on so much per month, as it relates to you being behind on the business license taxes. But that's all I have for LLC formation. Do you guys have any questions?
I don't see any questions. You just got some active viewers right now. So the next part, I'm going to show your practice areas. So you can kind of give a breakdown of what you do, your practice areas, and then we'll go into some questions that we have for you.
Okay. Yes. As again, I am a Birmingham attorney, as well as throughout the state of Alabama and the surrounding areas. My practice areas are criminal defense, personal injury, of course, LLC business formation, expungements, family law, real estate, and estate planning. And what I typically like to do is, in those areas, I like to meet with my clients to discuss what their options are, and if there's anything that I can't help them with, I like to refer out to some of my colleagues. But I pride myself on being an accessible attorney. I try to be very accessible to my clients. I try to make sure and let them know that I'm there for them. Let them know that you know, if there's anything that I can help you with, I definitely will.
Awesome. So I'm going to take this down. Now it's going to be all about Ashley and the questions we have for you. So we're going to go through the rundown of questions. Just answer them to the best of your ability, but this is to help them understand you, get to know you more, and to kind of help them get to know more about what your journey was to get here, because that's just a part of your lesson as much as the LLC. And if y'all notice, it was fairly quick for Ashley to walk you through that. Ashley, there is more forms and stuff that you need to tell them about, and you guys can all find those on the Secretary of State of your website. You do have a question from Miss Red. She said, in Michigan and the LLC has to hold meetings. Do Alabama have that as well? Or if so, can you go into some details? So in Michigan, they make them hold meetings as LLCs. And I believe you know the answer that that's not. I don't think the case. Go
in the
ahead
state of,
and answer.
in the state of Alabama, LLCs are not required to hold meetings. That's only regarding corporations. That's not limited liability companies. They're not responsible for doing that.
And just to clarify, Ms. Red, operating agreements do help with that. So you can also opt to not hold meetings, as Ashley said, in your operating agreement, that you won't have to hold meetings because you made an operating agreement that says there are no meetings. So Michigan might not
Right.
do that, but Alabama does. So that's the reason why we can, is because you can just write it in your rules that say no.
Mhm.
So that was a really good question, because I didn't
Pretty
even know
good.
Michigan. So now we both learned something new about how Michigan does their LLC formation.
Exactly.
So that's really cool. But let me get back to the normal questions. And y'all interrupt me at any time with any real questions about LLC. That's the whole reason she's here. These questions are to get to know her better. If you have any questions, interrupt at any point. I will stop what we talking
Most
about,
definitely.
your question, because it's more important than these questions. These questions help us get to know Ashley better and maybe make you a little bit more comfortable with asking her a question. Um,
Please
so
be comfortable, people.
so the first thing that we're going to ask you, Attorney or Ashley, is tell me more about you that I can't find on paper.
Hmm. Well, what you can't find on paper. Well, it's a lot of it you can't find on paper. Let's see. I'm a native of Mobile, Alabama. Grew up there all my life. Moved to Birmingham at 18. I'm a graduate of UAB in undergrad. I have a master's in management from Troy University, Montgomery.
Mm-hmm.
I have a master's in social work from the University of Alabama, and I have my law degree from Birmingham School of Law here in Birmingham, Alabama. Um, I have, let's see, I'm married. I have 3 children, Caleb, Aubrey, and Madison. Um, I really enjoy doing just about any and everything with them. Let's see, I love the flexibility of my work. I'm able to go and do things with my kids. I consider myself pretty family oriented. Let's see, I go back home often to Mobile to visit my family. Uh, I'm really just an open book.
That's good. Now I'm going to ask you to shorten it. I want you to boil down who you are and what you do in 3 words.
Who am I? What I do in 3 words. Let's see, who am I? I consider myself to be one of those people um, that you can always depend on. You can depend on me to do what's right when it's right, and I try to be there for other people. Let's see, I'm a good listener. I love to read. Um, and just interact with people, just kind of figure people out and figure out their likes, their dislikes, and things like that. I like to delve into people to see who they really are, what they bring to the table, as well as what I bring to the table and how I can be a benefit to them. How can I be a benefit in the lives of other people? That's me.
I love that. So, I got to talk about the uncomfortable stuff. So, this is
What
your
is that? Wait a minute. What is
that
that
ouch
uncomfortable
point,
stuff?
your
Huh?
ouch point, your let's get real, your what was your struggle into getting where you are now moments. Because and I know your story. We done talked extensively about it, but I think that it's important to remind people that you are not a series of checks and no minuses. There are always minuses in life that end up adding to the character that makes us more relatable. So, what's
Oh,
your that makes you more relatable? Yeah, that's my little thing. I like to use my failures as a platform of excellence, not a platform of failure.
okay. Well, for those of you who do not know, as I previously stated, I gave you my background as far as my education and things like that. But a lot of you don't know that I originally started law school back in 2006, right out of undergraduate. Um, 2007, I lost my brother, my twin brother, and hold on, just a second. I lost my twin brother, and I was in law school at the time, and it kind of got a little hard for me. I ended up kind of flunking out of law school because it got to be too much for me. And I went on to do some other things during that time. And like I said, I gotten 2 master's degrees in that time that I left school and things like that. Did some counseling, you know, trying to find me again. Because a lot was lost at that time. Um, Long story short, like I said, I got 2 master's degrees in that time. I went back a few years later, and I can remember the dean of my law school telling me, he said, if you don't graduate this time, you will not graduate from Birmingham School of Law. And that resonated with me. It wasn't the idea that I couldn't do it because I've always been smart. You know, a lot of stuff always came easy for me as far as education is concerned because, like my parents laid proper foundation for me. What can I say? Um, but it was just that one thing that kind of took me off my path. And but luckily down the line I was able to get back on the right path, of course, with my belief in God, my family support, and things like that. I was able to get back on the right path. And like I said, I got back into law school. I completed law school. Um, when I did not pass my first bar exam. I did not. I did not pass the first bar exam, and that was a shell shock for me because I'm thinking like, wait a minute, like I know this stuff, like I know it, like literally, I know this information. You can't tell me that I don't know it because I'm able to spit it out. I didn't pass. I didn't pass. I didn't pass. And that, like I said, that was very eye opening for me. But luckily, I had my family support and things like that, to help me and the prayers. And like I said, I didn't travel this road alone. My family and friends were there the entire way. And I just thank God for my journey because I'm where I wanted to be. I remember my aunt telling me maybe about a few years ago. She said, I remember you saying, I think you were about the age of 5, and you said that you wanted to be an attorney. And I said, yeah, I don't remember at what age I said it, but I do know that I've said it all my life. Um, and like I said, for anybody out there that has any dreams or admirations, go after your dreams. Don't let one door being slammed in your face. Don't let that be the point where you say, "Hey, I'm gonna give up," because it took me 9 years to get a law degree that most people only get in 4 years. And that's because I didn't give up when the door was closed in my face. I didn't give up time after time. I didn't give up. I re strategized and I went back. Because guess what I said? As long as the doors are open in Montgomery, I will be down there taking the exam because that's what I want to do. That's what I set
Hallelujah.
out to do. That's what I set out to do. That's what I wanted to do. And I've completed it. I've crossed that finish line and I never looked back. So if you have any dreams or admirations, do what you need to do. Do what you need to do. This is my saying, do what you need to do so that you can do what you want to do. And when I tell you I've never looked back, I haven't looked back one day in my life. And I thank God for my journey. You know, um, I thank God for the people in my life. I thank God for the people that He's placed in my life to help me. I thank God for the people that He's placed me in their lives to help them. Because let's just be honest, we're all here for a reason. And there's a reason why I'm in your life. There's a reason why you're in my life. So that's the way I look at life. And that's why I said I like to pour into other people to see what benefit that I can be for them instead of, trying to see what I can get out of it because it just makes me happy to know that, I've helped somebody else. It doesn't take anything to do anything for somebody else. And I look at it like, no deed is too small, even if it's, helping a little old lady across the street, picking up trash, going to a neighborhood, doing a clean sweep of the neighborhood. You have to invest in yourself. You have to invest in your community. Um, and that's how you grow. That's how you get integrity. That's how your character is driven. Based upon integrity. What you do for people, what benefit you have. It's not always about you. And that's how I look at things.
And that's beautiful, Ashley. I'm just touched and moved by that. And you actually answered the next question that was coming down the pike. But y'all just give it up for her for being vulnerable because that was not easy for her to share. Never is, right? When you're not expecting it. But
I was
share
not expecting that one.
this, yeah, share this video to say, you're really listening to somebody that understands what it's like to be you because you more than likely identify. So Ashley already explained what drives her to transform her experiences into something positive. But is there anything else that drives you to take the negatives that you have experienced and it's accumulative negatives, right? Because it's been multiple doors, multiple people
Right.
not saying yes, not saying you could do it, and you
Hmm.
still keep going. And I like your, determination. As long as Montgomery doors are open, you're gonna be down there. And it moved to Birmingham briefly, but you boomed on through. You don't walked on through. You ain't gotta wait till the doors open no more, but other people still do, and other people who are going to go through this process might experience what you did, and it's impossible to know who it's gonna be, but guarantee you, someone who listens to this is gonna remember that that girl. It took her 9 years, and if she can stick with it for 9 years, I can stick with it for at least one more year, and not.
Just one more try.
I'm really happy. But is there anything you want to add to what drives you to transform those experiences into something positive?
Yes. Where I come from. I wasn't born with a silver spoon in my mouth. So, um, to me, being able to give back to my community of where I came from, that's what drives me. I know a lot of people say, well, you do a lot of stuff in Mobile, a lot of things like that. Well, that's where I'm from. I want to give back to where I'm from. I give just as much as I do here in Birmingham. But the thing about me is never forget where you're from. I stand firm on that belief. Never forget where you came from because that's who made you. I'm a product of my environment. I was able to get out, yes, but I was always taught when you cross over the railroad track, you reach back and get your fellow man. And I stand firm on it. Nobody left behind. The only way you'll get left behind is if you want to be left behind. I've never turned down anybody for help. I've never not, reached out and said, okay, hey, do you need this or how can I be of assistance? Anyone that knows me knows how I am. I've always been that way. I've always been a caring person. I've always been there for other people. And anyone knows me knows that. And so just being able to reach back and help some people from my neighborhood, reach back and help some people from my family. I pride myself on being able to do that because that's what it's all about. People helping people.
I didn't mean to cut you off. Sorry. But what was I about to say? Oh, so diversity is important, but what are you doing to be more inclusive and encouraging others to do so as well? So this is a big ticket item that's coming up a lot more. Black Lives Matter kind of spurred it, and people
Mhm.
actually started leaning in this year for that. But what are you doing to make sure that people are more inclusive?
Well, as far as making sure more people are more inclusive, um, truth be told, I have a lot of Caucasian friends. I have a lot of African American friends. Um, I think as long as you're true to yourself, you're true to who you are, you're true to what agenda you're trying to push, and people respect you, there will always be room at the table for you to discuss what other options are that you have, whatever experiences that you may be experiencing. I think that as long as you do any and everything with respect, you can always have a seat at the table. I'm big on agree and disagree respectfully and move our separate ways. Um, but that's the most important thing is you have to be mature enough to sit down at a table to discuss your differences, to agree to disagree, and move forward. Um, I think that as far as you know, mixing and things like that, I think it's imperative. I think diversity is imperative for our culture, imperative for our nation. You know, we a lot of times people say, I want people that looks like me. Yes, it's imperative for people to be in leadership that looks like you. It's also imperative for people to be in leadership that has that's going to push the agenda that you're going to push. So I'm big on, if you want people that look like you, we have to train up our youth the correct way, because they are the leaders of tomorrow. Um, that's the big thing that I'm big on.
Awesome. And then the next question I have is, what is your pro tip for others to use when they doubt themselves, especially in this, starting up an LLC process, when they doubt themselves or they feel, like they can't do it? What is your pro tip for them to kind of get out of that head frame?
Okay. Let's see. My pro tip is, this is how I psyched myself out. Do you want to work for someone else and make them rich, or do you want to work for yourself? Work for yourself, strategize what you want to do, make your own business terms, do business on your own terms, and be able to live life at your own expense. That's how I rationalize it. I didn't want to work for someone forever for 9 to 5 growing their business. I wanted to grow my own. In addition to that, I wanted to be able to be available to my children. They have school functions and things like that. So it was a step out on faith for me to open up my own LLC, because I had worked for people all of my life. We're talking about going from 9 to 5, and then all of a sudden one day I say, I think I'm about ready to open up my own business, and I think, I'm just gonna transition to my do my own thing and see how that works. But I will tell you that you do need to have some support. I would not recommend just jumping out there with an LLC without having some form of income, as it relates to, whether that be a savings, whether that be a checking, or something like that. You do want to have a steady income while you're trying to formulate your business. Especially if it's a new business, you want to have some form of income coming in. But me myself, I took that leap of faith. I did.
Awesome. So then the next question that we have for you is, you experienced COVID-19 like no one else. So what innovative strategy did you have to develop or reinvent yourself in order to be successful during COVID?
Well, what we're doing now, I've done a lot of Zoom calls, Zoom conferences, Zoom court. Of course, your social media, doing the marketing and things like that, because people are really weary about you coming into their place of business now. So social media has been an excellent platform for my business, and I think this is probably going to be here for a while as far as online. I think we're here to stay for a little bit.
I agree. I think we are here, and I think I might stay here even after we open back up again. I don't
It's
really
funny you say that, because I was on
know.
Zoom court the other day, and one of the judges stated that they're going to keep Zoom for a while.
I mean, I really think that it's a better alternative than people unnecessarily driving 3 or 4 hours to
Hmm.
court or the attorney in the case, but it's possible for them to be there virtually. So you can reduce your client time and still maximize the ability to provide for the same people
Hmm.
without upping the amounts, especially on appointed work and it's out of the
Right.
state you're in. I mean, that would really help reduce your costs. It would reduce
Exactly.
your but it reduce your bills for your gas too. So
Look, trust
you
me, I know about the gas.
girl, that you going through what I went through my first year. I was at everybody, mom, Dick, and Harry courtroom, filling in for somebody's law firm. I'm the bankruptcy representative for such and such credit. Thank you. I'm here in rural Silicaga. Thank you very much. I would like to represent this party. They're like, have you been here? No, but I'm representing this party. So please give me my money once I finish doing what they have asked me to do.
Oh,
So that is a struggle, but it is worth it. So Ashley said,
well
start.
worth it.
I definitely did not start with income. I did it wrong, but that doesn't mean it's impossible. It's just harder. So if you're ready for hard, you can start with no income if you want to, but just make sure that you're able to humble yourself, because I started with no income, but I had like 4 jobs. I was working for DoorDash, I was working for court appearance professionals, I had my own firm, and I was working for Docketly. So don't
Yes.
twist it. I had no income, but I was trying to make the income from some other
Trying to
place.
make it. That's all you have to do. Look, put
All
one
right.
foot forward.
So, Ashley, tell us about the reason for giving this specific lesson today for your topic. You could have picked so many different topics. Why this one?
Well, I picked this topic, Nina, because I have several friends that have reached out to me regarding LLC formation and some other colleagues. And I definitely felt that this was a needed topic to discuss because a lot of times, you have people that are ready to leave a 9 to 5, but they just don't know, okay, what are the next steps that I need to do to get myself prepared to transition. And these are the steps that you need to do as far as formulating your business. And I'm always big on, you know, if you want to represent yourself, if you want to be a business person or a businessman, you can do it. Be your own boss. You know, I'm not gonna say don't work for nobody because I don't think that would be nice. But if you want to stand on your own terms and do things on your own terms and standards, go out, start your business, no matter what it is. Because guess what? You will have people that are sponsoring and supporting you, people that you wouldn't even imagine. I'm a big fan of people are always watching, even if you don't think they are. Even, that's social media. If you're advertising on social media, it could be people on there that's liking your business. They may not put a like by your business, but they see it. And that's all you need to do. You market your own self, you market your own brand. And remember this, your brand is all you have. Be careful about what you advertise, be careful how you advertise, and be careful how you put yourself out there because you want to be taken seriously in whatever business you have. If you don't take yourself seriously, no one is going to take you seriously. So, my recommendation would be get out there, step out on faith, start whatever business venture or idea you have. You do your legal research on it. You find out what other companies in the area are sponsoring it. Find out what other agencies in that area have that type of business. You do your legal research on it. You figure out how much, if anything, you need to invest to start your business off. And you kind of go from there because let's just be honest, you're going to have some overhead. You're going to have overhead no matter what type of business, whether you start off small or large, you're going to have overhead. You just have to be prepared that when that overhead is needed, that you have it. There are several banks out here. There's several grants. You just have to look. Go on to irs.gov. They have several grants. They have several loans that you can apply for. You just have to do your research. Research, research, research. That's the most important thing. You can formulate your business all you want. You can formulate it, but you need to know that um, there's a need for the type of business that you're trying to implement. Because if there's not a need, you're going to be wasting your time.
That's awesome. And of course, you get everything right every time, Ashley. You never make any mistakes. But just in case you
Oh
do,
no. Oh no.
what could you possibly improve on, or that you still struggle with as you're trying to help people form their LLC? What's something you struggle with in forming LLC or having your LLC your first year? What's something you still struggle with that somebody could relate to? Up, your sound went out.
I would say making sure that you stay on top of the federal tax information as well as the Alabama tax information because what I ran into was that it was two different things. You receive the Alabama and you receive the federal. Well, on the federal, I received maybe one or two notifications and there's like an ID on the letter that you have to utilize when you go in there to pay. Well, on one particular occasion, I went in and I failed to put that ID, so they were unable to link my payment with my account. So I ended up having to go through a whole different kind of scheme of things just to kind of get that taken care of. But make sure you stay up on those deadlines as far as the taxes is concerned. Make sure you stay up on the deadlines when it's time to renew your LLC and things like that, because you know once it once the date expires, it's no longer going to be good. And you want to make sure that you keep a running tally on that type of information, because the moment that it expires, you run the risk of someone else either one getting your name for the business, or two opening up under the same or similar name.
Awesome. So the next question we have is, how can we better protect and support Black owned businesses?
As far as protecting and supporting, if you know a black owned business, even if you don't frequent them often, go in there. If it's not doing anything but spending $5, you go in there, spend those $5. Let them know that you are you appreciate them being in your community. You appreciate what they're doing in the community and everything that they're standing for. Because let's just all face it, you know, there has not been a whole lot of black businesses, you know, in the past. Like there hasn't, not like today. And the fact that we're able to open and own our own businesses, that says something. It says something not only for our black community, but our black race. Um, be able to give back, give back to the community, give back to whatever community you formulated your business in. It's not always about, I'm not going to say don't charge people, because, that's your livelihood, but do things in the community for charity. If somebody need a wheel, help them out with the wheel. If somebody need, do some pro bono work. We're not required in the state of Alabama to do pro bono work. It's recommended that we do pro bono work, but I quite often I do a lot of pro bono work. And that's just because, I've been afforded an opportunity to help people. And that's one of the reasons why I got off into this field. It's not going to cost me anything to do this advanced directive for this person. That's the reason why I got into this field, because I wanted to help people in the legal realm of things, because not everyone can afford an attorney. Let's just be honest. Um, and pro bono work is not about taking a loss. It's about helping the less fortunate. And that's one of the things that we can do. Even if it's a black owned coffee shop, even if it's a black owned movie theater, whatever it is black owned, try to frequent that location, or try to invest, even if it's nothing but a small amount in that location or whatever business it is, because it helps that owner tremendously. And if we want to grow black businesses, what better way than to invest in our own?
Yes. And one technique that, and you don't got to do this, y'all, but this is a good technique that I have learned. Maybe your one signature product, maybe you just pick someone that you want to help in the community. You just find someone that you're inspired by and you see their brand developing, or you see something happening. And if there's a way for you to give them
Hmm.
something free, or that's a very empowering tool. So that's another
Yep.
way for you guys to support, is to remember that you are the only one able to give away things for free. No one else can make it free. You can't. The potential clients can't make you give discounts or give away things for free. But
Hmm.
it could be someone that you see in the community that reminds you of you, and all you got to do is, give
Right.
them that you provide for free. Because at the end of the day, that automatically increases their belief in a system that works in their favor, because they probably got to
Exactly.
do a lot. And that black owned business, or that individual,
Hmm.
probably never really thought anybody was going to do that. So, I mean, I give, and I mean, this is not popular knowledge, but I mean, I have trademarks that I do for free sometimes. And I do them because I've been watching your business
Hmm.
grow for like years. And I finally wanted to do something to give back. But that's just stuff that I do that I don't ask for credit for. I don't want people to have, knowledge of, because that's not really why I do it. I do it because I believe that your brand really does need to be recognized. And I want to be able to bless the people, who I've been watching just work hard
Exactly.
what they've been doing. So I mean, I watch people, the people who did my videography for my commercial. I watched them for 2 years before I booked the service so I can make sure that it's a company that I wanted to invest all of my
Exactly.
into. So I watch people, I pay attention very closely to people's work product because if I do business with you, I'm now going to recommend you to multiple people. And I got to make sure
Mm-hmm.
that you do business the way that I hold my standard to because the clients that I serve, I want them to have reliable people that I refer them to. And if you're not reliable for me, I can't get I can't get your
You're not
name.
gonna be reliable for anybody else.
So the other questions that I have are very short. They don't require as much, but these are things that you've done that you think that you could now be probably an expert. If someone asked you for your advice, your $1 million idea is in your industry. If someone said, Ashley, come speak to our company and do a whole presentation on how to fix this issue, whether it be in business, whether it be in family, work life, however, what is it that you think that after all of the different things that you have gone through that you feel like you would be a great person to help them fix this part of their company? Maybe it's broken systems, broken communications, life balance, LLCs, business ownership. What is it?
Um, I would say that would have to be work-life balance. Work-life balance. The reason why I say that is because my work-life balance has not been easy. I juggled a family, full-time work, law school, all at the same time, and it was important for me to be able to juggle and recognize what I needed to do, when I need to do it, and how I need to do it, so that way I can get everything accomplished. So that would definitely be one of the most important things that I can definitely speak on. In addition to time management, because time management is definitely important when you're trying to juggle, like I said, three kids, family, husband, work, school. Time management is of essential. You have to be able to time manage. There is no getting around it. You know, that's something that you just have to do. You have to be able to do. If you want to accomplish everything in life, everything is not going to come easy. It's not going to come, somebody's not going to hand everything to you. You have to get out there and you have to work for it. You have to move some things around. But if you're not willing to be flexible and move things around and just kind of have that balance, you're going to fall through the cracks. In addition to that, when you don't have work life balance, you open yourself up to not only anxiety, depression, and things like that, you open yourself up to physical health problems. Um, because you're not getting the amount of rest that you need. You're not getting, everything you need. Endorphins are very important, people. A lot of people don't believe that, but endorphins are very important. Rest is essential for the mind. Rest is essential for the body. You have to get rest. You have to, sometimes, as I say, you have to be in two or three places at one time, but you have to be strategic in how you have to do it.
Awesome. So the next question I have, and you'll
Did
like
that
this
answer
question.
your question?
Oh yeah, that helped. That was really good. Intentionality is good. The sleep part, y'all don't even know. Like I was supposed walking my mama through something for business stuff, and it was early in the morning because I sleep at all odd hours close in the holidays because I'm trying to close all these different parts so that 2021 can start off way ahead of the curve. I don't like to start off 2021 just playing catch up. Like I like to start off 2021
Exactly.
already with 3 things to launch, 3 months plan.
Hmm.
So I have been doing a lot of work to be there. But one thing that I found is that she was talking to me in the middle of the conversation. I was falling asleep because I had not got enough sleep and I had eaten much this week. I missed my little 100 burpees thing last night because I was just feeling sick to my stomach. And I was just like, what is wrong? And it's poor life balance.
Rest
So
is essential. Hmm.
we think COVID is great. You still got to figure out how to get your life balance because you didn't figure it out before the pandemic, and now you definitely figured it out. So yeah, if anybody got the playbook
Exactly.
between you, Veronique, between both of y'all probably got a better playbook than I got because I just be doing some random shit, and then I just later on go back and be like, oh dang, shouldn't have done that. So my next question for you, and you'll like this question, is do you have any job opportunities, remote internships, or anything like mentoring? I know you already do mentoring through the nonprofit, but do you have any mentoring
I do.
opportunities coming up?
I do. I'm glad you asked. I'm actually hiring right now. I'm in the process of looking for an assistant. Um, and of course, remote. That's something that we can definitely speak about. If you want to reach out to me, you can contact me at Ashley Bell, B as in boy, ELL 0210 at gmail.com. My office is 205-882-7571. And if you are interested in possibly working for me as an assistant, please give me a call or send me, well, actually, do both. Send me your resume as well as a cover letter and a writing sample, and I will be back in contact with you via email. Be sure to put your phone number down as well.
That is awesome. Y'all heard that? It's a job out there. It's a job out there. Are you paying for this position, Ashley?
I am.
Okay, so this is a paying job, y'all. I only got volunteer opportunities, so Ashley better than me. So again, if you guys,
Uh,
I got,
let me take that back. Let me
I got,
look,
well, I got,
volunteer and paid. It's more
yeah,
than one.
I have one volunteer. I have multiple volunteers and one paid. That's my social media manager because they manage all three of my accounts at once and basically get the I don't know if you guys understand how my brain works, but I send Wade a lot of text messages and updates. So they get the full stream of consciousness of my social media things that I think about that would be great and innovative. And then they have to make a decision whether or not it's good or they should like do some things and tweak it. So that is something that I offer only to like one or two people. I think I'm only going to do one right now so I can get a common way to do social media management. And then once she's perfected kind of what it looks like, then I'll bring in a second. But yeah, so I'm also hiring, but y'all will, whatever people I get actually that I don't end up taking, I will forward their stuff on over to you because they are still quality candidates. I just could not take everybody. Just can't. It's impossible.
I
So
can't take everybody.
be happy to forward them people on to you because they be on me all the time asking for internships. And I'm like, look, man, if I will find somebody. You will not just be submitting into the void with me. Last big question. The rest is not really questions. Motivational message that you wish someone gave you, and then I'll follow up with two more questions, and then we'll be done.
Let's see, motivational message I wish someone would have given me. Uh, Law school was not as easy as I thought it was going to be. um, let's see. That's one of the things, but as I explained, even as a child, a lot of stuff came to me pretty quickly as far as education is concerned. Even in grad school, undergrad, graduate school, um, I can say that a lot of stuff came to me pretty quickly. Law school, it was a different beast. And looking back, it was a different beast for a reason. There's a lot of things that I wish I would have known prior to going to law school. Some of the things, like some of the different um, undergraduate disciplines and things like that. Some of things like that. Some things like political science, stuff like that. I did take some political science classes, which I wish I would have taken more. Um, but overall, I had a wonderful experience in law school. But that's just some of the things that I wish I would have been told. I just want to tell you that it's a lot of reading, it's a lot of briefing, it's a lot of Socratic method. That's one of the things I wish I would have been told about the Socratic method. Um, because my heart would be racing and I'm thinking like they're gonna call on me, they're gonna call on me. Oh my God. And I'm thinking in my mind, I'm prepared. Like I've already briefed the case. I know, but the idea of someone just randomly calling on me, like it really freaked me out every night. And I'm thinking like, oh my God, am I gonna have a panic attack? But um that's one of the things I wish I would have been told about. But I don't I definitely think, having done that, it made me more prepared when entering class. But so I can't say it's a bad thing.
Awesome. And last question, do you have any offers connected to this event, i.e. some type of limited time discount or something like that, or just, give you a call and maybe there's something in it after all, but maybe it's not a discount. Maybe it's a free checklist, anything related.
Yes, I do. Actually, between today and next Friday, I'm running a special on LLC formation. It'll be 750 plus your filing fees. So you have to have booked it by next Friday.
All right, guys. So y'all heard that. That's the
I think
offer.
that's the 17th.
Yes, I think it's 17th or 18th, but either way, you have to have booked it by next
Hmm.
Friday. The offer is, 750 plus your filing fees, and let's get yourself started with the LLC before the new year. That's something that you can check off the list. You'll be done. The courts will still be open. They will still hold court all the
Check
way
it
up
off.
Eve 18th of the month. I think that's when they close it and they like start winding down. I think our last day
Hmm.
of court is 21st, if I'm not mistaken. But that's the only court I'm going to because I got night court. But yeah, that's it. We're gonna go do the Zoom video. But thank you so much, Ashley, for attending
Thank you for
and
having me.
for having you on here. Got to do it one more time. There's your flyer. I gotta take this
Thank
little
you. Thank you.
question
Thank you
down.
for having me.
And if y'all loved Ashley, then you're definitely going to love the next speaker. And they go hand in hand, funny enough. So they're actually right next to each other in my queue. So Sandrika Moore, she's actually going to talk to you about business funding 101. So if you thought Ashley was helpful,
Definitely a must see.
if you got the funding and now you can pay Ashley because now you figured out how to secure business funding and you can legitimize paying Ashley to form your LLC. Oh my God.
Yes.
Mind blowing. I did
You have
not
to secure the bag. Secure the
I did
bag.
not plan this schedule, y'all. They planned this schedule. This was the time availabilities that they booked. So this was God intervening. So y'all had information at the right time at the right pair. So y'all really tune in. If y'all don't know about Sandrika, maybe y'all need to go read her bio on Nina R. Spear Law Firm Instagram, like right now, which is why you'll come back to the next video. But Ashley, thank you so much again from us, and we are going to go to the Zoom link
Thank
now.
you.
And we will talk to you in a little bit about how everything went. Bye, guys.